Yes. So as a quick intro, this is the JP diesel combi heater. It's from Alibaba. I think it was about 1,200 imported to the UK. It took about a week or two to come. It was really quick. We ordered it a few months ago, and this is what's going to make our hot water and hot air. It runs on diesel and it also runs on 230 volt electric. So there's two heating elements, pretty similar to the Truma D6E. So if you already watched lots of videos about it, this works pretty much in a very similar way. So let's try to get our head around how we're gonna do the diesel tap. This bad boy is the original diesel line. Now, I'm following a video made by Agoravan. I'll put a link in the description. So we're not gonna use this because it's too big. We're gonna use this that I got from eBay. It's a smaller diesel tube, and I'll put a link in the description, and we're going to use this to tap into the diesel tank. Pipe to go into the fuel tank, connect to this, that then connects to the filter, like so. The filter then connects via pipe to the pump, and then from the pump we connect to the heater with this bad boy. Now, all of these things are connected with these little rubber things, squeezy things, and a bunch of these little screw connectors. Let's do a little test fit. Here is the diesel pipe. We're gonna have to cut this to length, but that's gonna go into the tank. Then this end needs to attach to this pipe. As you can see, they don't slot together. Hence why we're gonna need, it goes inside, like so, like halfway maybe. And then you can fit it onto there, like so. So that now pushes together. Cool. Now, to squeeze these tight so they don't leak is why we need these. And then you literally just tighten that screw and that screw. So once that's fitted into the tank, we need to attach it to this diesel filter. I heard of some people breaking this, so I think we need to be pretty careful with it. It's made of plastic. Now, one thing that's important is to figure out which direction it needs to flow to filter the fuel properly. The correct mount is vertically, and the outflow to the heater should be coming from the top, and the input from the pump should be from the bottom. So this blue pipe is going to attach to the bottom like so, the same method that we used before, and we need to be careful not to break it. So the filter will attach there, and this bit will go out to the pump. Luckily, because we have a Citroen relay, the diesel tank we can access from this little hatch down here. First thing is to take this off. Comes off like so. And we need to undo these 3 bolts, and I'll probably tidy all of this stuff up as well. It's pretty tight in here. It's probably easier if you're doing this step when you remove the seats. I could probably remove them, it wouldn't take me that long, but I'll go through the hard way of not removing it. And now this lid should just pop off like so. So let's get this tidied up. Okay, so there are multiple ways to tap into a diesel tank that I've seen. One of them by HuTube, who removed all of these connectors, had to remove this white cover, and you tap in through the middle of this white lid. And the second way is from Instagram, and Agoravan made a video about it as well. I'll link in the description, which is what we're gonna do, going through this breather pipe hose. So this hose just goes off to the side underneath the van, and it's to allow air to escape from the van when you're filling it up. We're gonna drill into this and attach a pipe through here. And before we do that, I'm gonna open the diesel tank to relieve some pressure. Cool, so let's remove that bolt. Should be 8mm socket wrench. I think Agoravan also disconnected the battery, but I don't think we need to do that. Hopefully we should be able to disconnect this now just by pulling on it fairly gently. Okay, mine seemed like it was a lot harder to pull out than what I've seen. So I'm going to quickly cover up that hole because that goes straight into the tank, and gently clean everything up. Okay, so plug that hole up. Here is the hose, and we're going to drill a hole into here. Before we do that, I want to double check how deep our tank is. So I'm going to grab our pipe and stick it into the bottom. There we go, that's more like it. So check the depth, make sure we wipe the diesel off. So this tank is about 35 centimeters. Let's plug this back up. And next we can drill into this pipe. So it should be about a 5.5 mil hole, but we'll take it slow. I guess at least if you mess this up, you just need to buy a new breather pipe. And obviously that's gonna be way too small, so let's move up to 5 mil. Yeah, that's definitely too small. So this one's 5 mil. Almost, so yeah, 5.5 mil should do the trick. Yeah. Yep, that's the perfect fit. Cool, so now we need to cut the pipe to be the correct size. So the pipe length is 46 mil, the tank is 35, and then this guy from here to here is 3. Okay, so in the manual it says that we should be from 30 to 40 mil from the bottom of the tank, and we also need to cut it at an angle. So in our case, the pipe
is 46 centimeters long, the depth of the tank is 35. We need to add 3 centimeters to that because of the hose, so that brings us to 38. We don't want it to sit right at the bottom of the tank, we want it between 3 and 4 centimeters away from the bottom of the tank.
So we're going to cut this 34 centimeters. Give it a little mark here, and then use a metal saw to chop it off at an angle, or try to, at a 45-degree angle. I'll put in my clamp. There we go. I'm going to squish it. And there we go, that's all cut. Before we insert it in, I'm just going to attach the blue hose. Alright, so we can put this guy back before we plug our cable in. So push it in, put our pipe through the hole. And now we just need to twist it on. There we go, that's all attached. Now we just need to push this back in, like so. Make sure it's all the way in. I think you can attach this blue hose after you screw it all the way down, because it's a bit annoying if your seat is still in. And you have enough space to tighten these clips. I'm going to screw that back on. And now we're ready to do the epoxy glue. So it comes in 2 parts. and this little stirrer. We just need to put part A in, put a little bit of this in. We don't need much, so, and put the same amount of part A in. It's like a 50-50 split, and then stir it together for 30 seconds. And now they start together, we're just gonna apply some around the pipe where we cut our hole. Okay, so the epoxy is all on. It's just drying now, and hopefully it'll give us a nice seal. Before we call it a day, I took this little rubber cap off the fuel line on the heater, and I'm gonna stick it on the end of the blue hose. Because if you turn the van on and this hose is a bit lower underneath the van, or even here, when the tank gets pressurized, you could get fuel coming out of this. I don't want to have a big fuel leak everywhere, so I'm going to stick this on the end or use something else to cover it up before you connect it to the rest of the system. Alrighty, here's the situation the next day. This thing sets proper solid, this epoxy, so really happy with that. And then what I've done is, I don't want to have the pump and the filter in the van because I don't really have, I don't know, it's not a very nice way to run it. Over here it would be in a way. So what I decided to do is we're gonna run it under the van. So this is actually the top of the tank on the outside. So this blue pipe, I put it in conduit, and you can literally just pass it through to underneath the van, which I'll show you what I've done under there in a second. So since I done that, I mounted the pump and the filter underneath the van that I'll show you in a second, and then it runs in a conduit underneath the van here, through here, and then in here in a conduit. I need to find out a nice way to tidy this end of the conduit up. If anyone has any suggestions, let me know what to use. I saw you can use these little conduit end things, so maybe I'll use that, but anyway, let me know in the comments. So I ran the diesel pipe through that, and I also ran the cable for the pump that needs to go outside, so that we will need to connect to the heater. So yeah, we made some progress here, and now I will just show you what I've done under the van. As you can see, that's the front tank, the fuel tank over there, and the filter is mounted there, and the pump is mounted there. And I'll give you a closer look in a sec. But just for perspective, that's where majority of the bits are, and then it runs in the conduit through there and it goes in there. Now I also placed the tank, the water tank, down there because I was worried that it's going to be in the way of where everything is going to connect to the heater. Now luckily the tank literally finishes there, so we have plenty of room to make all our connections here, so it worked out perfectly. Okay, so here we are, closer look. The diesel pipe comes through there, which I've shown you from above, and it needs to be mounted in this orientation, so it comes in, goes through the filter, and I attached it with a cable tie, so it comes out of the filter at the top and it goes into the pump, and you can see the pump connections here. The diesel pipe and the electric cable just runs through this conduit. Here's a quick look at from a different perspective. The pump is mounted with that rubber thing that came in the kit to this beam here, so just use the self-tapping screw, and yeah, stuff just connects to that, runs in a conduit all the way under the van to the heater. It's time to install the exhaust. We need to cut an extra hole in the van, but I also had to buy some stainless steel screws because I heard that the ones that come with the unit, the heads tend to break off and they also rust. They're probably not stainless steel, or they're not high grade stainless steel, so I'll pick some more up. I'll put a link in the description. We need to mount this, so we need a 79mm hole saw. I think in the manual it says like 83, but I think this should work. So we need to cut a hole, insert this. It comes with a rubber gasket, but we'll use Sikaflex as well, and we just need to make sure that it points up in this direction. and then this little cover will screw on like so. Location wise, it's obviously going to come to the front here, so what I did is I cut a little square patch out and I brought a heater in here and roughly figured out where it needs to go. Now in the manual there are lots of details about how high or low the exhaust can be compared to the level of the heater, so make sure you read that manual. And also there are details about how long the exhaust pipe needs to be, minimum and maximum, so make sure you read the details in the manual before you decide on the location of the exhaust. So I measured all this out, marked on the other end, and now I just need to drill the hole. Is it in the right spot? Shout if it wasn't. Yes, that looks good to me. Now we can cut the bigger hole. Well, here we are. Another hole. Does it fit? Oh yes, baby. Time for some Hammerite. Cool, let this puppy dry up. Right, I just messed up a bit, so before you Hammerite, I put this up the right way up and I marked all the screw holes. So I'm going to drill these out, Hammerite that as well, and Hammerite this again because obviously I all smudged it. So yeah, let's get these holes drilled. I guess it did smudge it that bad. Alright, so here we are from the other side. While the Hammerite is drying, I think what I'm going to do is finish the vapor barrier around this, and I think I'm going to leave it a square so I have access. I mean, it's going to be panelled up with a circle cut out in the ply where the exhaust comes out, but I think I should leave some room here because we need to put those clips on. I want to have room, I don't want it to be too tight, and also I don't want the insulation to get too close to the exhaust area. So well, that took a while, but that looks pretty good to me. It's a fairly nice square. Vapor barrier is all patched up, and I think the stuff should be dry now, so let's add the cap. I added a bead of Sikaflex on the outer ring, and we'll probably add some. There's a rubber grommet, but I want to make sure that this is not going to leak. And now we just need to make sure it goes the right way up. And there we go. Screw this first one in a bit. Now let's put the cover on. I'll go like that. Sweet. Alright, so here is the finished installation. It looks pretty good. It's fairly nice and neat. And here's a view from the side. You can actually see it stick out quite a bit, but I guess what can you do? You're not gonna see it from this angle that much, I guess. Here's a view from the inside. It looks pretty good. Let's hope that it's watertight. Cool, so now that these are in, all we need to do is attach the exhaust to there and connect these cables, connect it to power, and we should be able to start testing it. Unfortunately, that's going to have to wait for next week, guys, but in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe and like, and here's a quick preview for next week's episode. Look who's here! I am an assistant. What have you got to say for yourself for not being in the vlog for 6
I'm
months?
sorry. Is it gonna like shoot out of here?
No. No, it's gonna be really. It's gonna come out really slowly, and it's gonna come out with air as well. I can hear the pump.
It scared me.
Can you hear the pump?
Yeah.
Let me take you guys down there.